I was into art right from the very beginning, and encouraged by my grandmother, who was a very artistic woman. And when I finished high school, I went to art school and trained to be an art teacher for 4 years. But I always liked doing things with my hands and creating and so on. So I thought the best way to do it was to be an art teacher.
And were you an art teacher?
Yeah, I was an art teacher for quite some time, and then after travelling for a long time, I transferred over to teaching languages. So I did that I worked with migrants teaching English as a second language for about 25 years.
I understand you know a number of languages.
Yes, or not a smattering of German, because I lived in Germany. But I did my degree at university I did a degree later in my late 20s, and I did it in Spanish literature.
What did you do in Germany?
I was travelling, like all Australian girls travel, and I was doing lots of odd jobs and working in bars and offices, and I didn't teach very much. I did a little bit, but not very much.
Okay, and so now how did you get into dealing with the fabrics?
I was in my blood. I think I started when I was born. My grandmother was always working with her hands and creating fabrics and making lace and crocheting and so on. Plus her sister was a sculptor and her other sister was a milliner, so I sort of got trained by all these, I call them the three old grey ladies. They all taught me something before I even went to school.
Is that why you decided to start your own shop in Manly?
Yeah, I always wanted to have some sort of outlet for my creativity, and in my mid-30s I just thought that it was time to take a risk, and packed up everything from Adelaide. I'd been back to Europe travelling for a while, and I was a bit discontented when I came back. I went to Sydney, and that's when I started. I had a little business over in Manly.
Was that successful for you?
Yeah, it was quite successful. Yeah, I did a lot of, oh yes it was actually, it was really good. And I had a lot of people working with me. I had a lot of young people working with making fabrics, and we had it was great. It was a really exciting little period in my life.
I understand you had some interlude with Penthouse Magazine.
Yeah, like after the Manly shop, I had developed my lingerie, and I was doing mail order situation with American Express, and an agent found me and approached me and then took me on as his client, and then he got a contract with Penthouse, and I became the sort of designer for Penthouse for about 18 months.
What happened next?
Gosh, I did that until I left Sydney, and then I came up here to the North Coast, and now after many years I've sort of drifted now into flamenco costuming for Spanish flamenco dancing.
That looks very exciting.
Yes, it is. It's very exciting. It's fun. It really is. And I do performance costumes for groups up on the coast here.
Dance groups mainly?
Yeah, mostly at the moment. It's sort of like a little niche market I've concentrated on, because I actually really love dance as well. So it sort of drifted. Every time I do something, I drift into it, because I start something and it takes me on a path. And this was because of my next door neighbour who was teaching flamenco dancing when I moved here, and I started getting involved in that.
So floating down the river of
Floating
life.
down the river of creativity. Yeah.
And well, what do you see then in the future?
Well, I'm trying to set up an eBay shop at the moment. I want to go worldwide with my designs, and I want to develop my flamenco dance costumes more into a line of fashion. So that's the direction I'm going at the moment.
Right. Well, here's the hard question. In your opinion, what is the nature of art?
The nature of art, that's a difficult one. I mean, I could say anything that's creative and expressive of what you feel your creativity is probably is art, but a lot of people would argue that. I mean, I think any endeavour to express yourself is some sort of art form, whether it be a piece of pottery that you use every day. I mean, it's always a discussion, what is an artefact and what is art, but I think that the two areas merge together, because life is an art form, and anything that we create to make our life easier, to me, is some sort of expression of creativity.
Pauline Hibbard, it was very nice to talk to you.
Thank you.